Produced in association with the NBC Television Network.
The Council for Industrial Safety invented the motto, safety first. Today, it is still one of the most effective slogans of American industry, where management and labor alike are concerned with cutting down accidents. At the Cunningham Aircraft Plant, we find our hero, Chester A. Riley, doing his part in keeping the spirit of safety first ever bright.
You interrupt this program for a special report brought to you by the CW News Network.
Hello, Americans.
We have an important update on the Berlin Blockade. In an attempt to push out the Allied forces of France, Britain, and the USA from Berlin, the Soviets blockaded West Berlin, cutting off all supplies going into the city.
That's right, Eve. Luckily, the USA has found a way to help. The Truman administration is leading the supply of brave Berliners through an airlift with an estimated 13,000 tons of essential goods daily. For viewers at home and abroad who are unsure of how the airlift is carried out, we turn you over to Jacob Kirsch for a quick overview.
And the Soviets have blocked off all access to Berlin through main roads, railways, and canals. This stops any surface traffic from West Germany and Berlin, which has caused the U.S. to not be able to supply their people in East Berlin. In response, the U.S. is sending supplies via airlift. Thousands of airplanes are carrying supplies to the people of Germany in order to maintain political control over the area. They are flying from parts of American-controlled Germany and British-controlled Germany into East Berlin. After dropping off supplies, they are exiting and flying back into British-controlled Germany. This is in order to ensure a safe exit from Soviet territory. The Soviets are trying to use this lack of supplies to force the people of East Berlin to turn towards the Soviets in a time of need and become a completely unified Berlin, which would then become part of the Soviet Union. This would be extremely detrimental towards the U.S.'s effort to stop the spread of communism. Hopefully, this airlift stops that from happening. Back to you, Alex and Eve.
There have been many misleading reports on the situation, but we are here to set you straight. So once again, West Berlin is blockaded from all sides in an attempt by the Soviets to remove Western powers from East Germany.
Moving forward, the situation in Berlin has been dragged out for far too long.
I agree. Today marks the 324th airlift. Let's hope that everyone is doing all right. Now over to Jennifer Manko for an inside look at the situation in Berlin.
Eve, I'm standing in West Berlin with the C-54s unloading their cargo behind me. Hour after hour, these planes continue to land, bringing with them relief for the Germans in Berlin. Before the blockade, the civilians in Berlin were already experiencing the devastating effects of a post-war recession. With the creation of the blockade, many people now feel the escalation of poverty. The airlifts land day and night, delivering essential items like coal, flour, and coffee. But they can't supply enough for everyone. The struggle for warmth increases as the winter days approach. Malnutrition continues to spread as the vegetable shortage grows. The food supply is low, but people are managing to survive. Without the airlifts, the people in Berlin would not be able to survive without the help of the imprisoning Soviets. 20,000 people already have by accepting ration cards from East Berlin. But due to the airlifts, most of the 2,500,000 people living in West Berlin are surviving without their help. Heavy loads on the airport's runways are starting to cause them to break. 225 people are working together to rebuild their runways for continuous use. The people understand that without them, the struggle for survival would increase drastically. These airlifts do not only show the individual efforts of Western countries helping starving civilians, but they also show the unity of the Western powers. Without Britain, France, and the U.S. working as one, the airlifts would be unsuccessful. However, as the success of the airlifts continues, the rest of the world can see the beneficial results of multiple nations fighting for one humane cause. I'm Jennifer Menko, reporting to you live from Berlin as the development of the Berlin blockade and airlifts continue. Now, back to you in the studio.
You don't say.
Marvelous! Breaking news! We have just received word that the Berlin blockade has been lifted. I repeat, the Berlin blockade has been lifted.
This day will go down in history, folks. May 12, 1949, the Berlin blockade is now completely removed due to the tremendous success of airlifts carried out by the Allied Western powers.
Planes have been landing in Berlin approximately every 45 seconds, coming from 4 different stations. 3 from U.S. territory and 1 from British territory, along with the return flight route to British territory.
Basically, Soviets have come to the realization that this operation can be sustained and successful for an indefinite amount of time, so their blockade has become pointless.
This shocking update is brought to you by Alex Twin, Eve Hemingway, Jennifer Manko, Jacob Kirsch from the CW News Network.
Now back to The Riley Show.
Riley! Put that cigar out! Didn't you read that sign you just nailed up?
Yeah, but I thought it meant...
What else could it possibly mean except no smoking?
Well, it could mean... no... Yeah, well, this is an emergency.
An emergency?
Yeah, George Mannix had a baby last night, and this morning he was passing...